sun on my skin.
Hey everyone, I'm Adam Fine, head of music and audio here at Fiverr, and we're lucky to be joined with Jake here. Cool, go by Jake, right?
Yes, sir. What's up, y'all?
Awesome. So Jake is a musician, singer, songwriter, producer. I feel like we could go on forever. Social star. How do you define yourself?
Yeah, I would say I'm mainly a songwriter. That's like my first love. I just love making songs. But yeah, that bleeds into so many different things nowadays.
Totally. And I think you're a perfect representation of the modern musician who's involved in so many different facets of the game. So let's go to the beginning. Can you tell me just a bit about who you are, where you're from, how you got into music?
Yeah. So I'm from Rhode Island, smallest state in America, and I grew up in a very musical family. My mom is a music teacher for elementary schools. And so, starting off real young, I was taking piano lessons, and then I was giving her a hard time. So, she let me take drum lessons from someone else. And then later on, I took guitar lessons. And so, through that time, my mom just kind of forced me to practice, but I never really loved it. And through that time, I also was playing on my church band team, playing drums or guitar or piano. Um, and so after about around the age of 14, I came across Logic Pro X, which is what I used to make all my music. And I absolutely fell in love with the creative process. And that's when I really just started using all my free time to make music. And now I'm 21. And so since 14, yeah, I started off making beats and then I would just record something over it. And then that's kind of how I got started.
That's awesome. It's actually crazy similar to my story with piano first, then drums, then guitar, and my
Sick.
mom's garage band. Uh,
There we go.
Now Pro Tools, Logic. But so would you say your mom or the music you were playing in the church, was that kind of your initial influence, or was more so was other music coming in? What was that like?
Yeah. So throughout kind of going to church growing up, I was listening to a lot of just like Christian contemporary, nothing like super gospel. So that sort of music is really simple and easy to kind of understand the structure. And that's where I feel like I really learned song structure. But then when I was like 9 years old or 8 years old, I came across my brother's iPod, which had pretty much like tons of hip hop, and I just completely fell in love with hip hop. That's when I really started actually listening to music. And yeah, some of my favorite artists from there at that time, and I'm pretty young, so like it was like Kanye West, Drake, people like that, and I just completely fell in love.
Nice. And do you feel like those artists are still, you hear them a bit, that influence in your music now, or it's something that really started and now you're in a new space?
Yeah, so when I started making beats, like I was doing a lot of hip hop stuff. Occasionally, when I just feel that itch, I'll go make like a complete hip hop song, which I always love to do. But yeah, there's definitely a lot of influence from both of those guys. Whether it be to like just how the drums hit. Sometimes Kanye is definitely a big influence for me. So yeah, they definitely stuck around quite a bit for me.
Yeah, I think Kanye is a big music influence for a lot of people. And the did you see the documentary recently?
Yes, I did. Yeah, loved
That
it. It was so good.
special to get a behind the scenes peek into his creative side.
Yeah.
So then, when did TikTok come into the scene for you?
Yeah, so basically, I had tested out a couple things on TikTok early on, right as it got switched from Musically to TikTok, and like something kind of popped off, but then it started to die out, and then I kind of stopped. But then COVID happened, and I just had all this time on my hands, and my parents were home, and so I decided. I had this idea. I was like, what if I took one of those beats that I spent like 2, 3 hours on and just had my mom walk in the room and act like she made it in 5 minutes? And so basically, I did a series of those videos and they just progressively kept like blowing up more and more. And to the point where I was like, all right, now I should throw my vocals on one of these songs and maybe I can just like kind of become an artist casually through this. And that's kind of exactly what happened.
That's awesome. And were you expecting it to latch on the way it did? Were you expecting that concept to get so many viewers?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely believed in it. I thought it was like a hilarious thing. I remember like There is a video somewhere in out there in the world of Twitter where I posted a video with my mom making a beat, and at the time it got like 20,000 impressions, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is insane. And I remember having that idea for a while, and I knew that there was something special about it. And so when I actually had the time to go flesh it out and do it, we kind of adjusted the structure of the video a little bit, and then it just started going. But yeah, I kind of forgot about it, and then once it started going, I was like, this is gold. Like, we can do so much with this.
And so does your mom say that you owe her for getting things started?
Oh yeah, she'll be like, "Hey, I filmed a TikTok with you yesterday, so come do the dishes or come do this or that." It's very
It's
typical.
totally fair. Totally fair.
For sure.
Nice. And I'm curious, so do you feel like that type of content was, what do you think made you stand out on TikTok, especially in those early days? Obviously they were amazing videos, but is there something that you think really made them stand out?
Yeah, I think mainly it was the fact that my skills that I had been working on for I guess 3 years before, like I had dropped out of college, and then um like I had just been trying to perfect my craft. And so once I had that moment to shine and the views were coming in, like I was really able to capitalize. Like I ended up going to LA and using my TikTok platform to connect with other TikTokers and write songs for them. And pretty much like since I had that skill that I had been working on for so long, I was able to seize the moment. And I'm glad that I didn't blow up earlier, because then I probably wouldn't have been able to make the most of all those opportunities.
That's a really interesting point. I think when you first started putting out music on TikTok, it was more towards the mashup side of things. And
Yeah,
then
yeah.
how did you decide to kind of incorporate your own music, and what was that transition like?
Yeah. So the idea with the mashups was like, let's make a beat that's really fire, but let's mash it up with a song that's already trending on TikTok. So I would just scroll through my For You page, try to find like what sounds are being used the most, especially in that whole dancing era of TikTok where there were tons of TikTok dancers. They would just be using these songs, and I would just use that virality of the song and then make a beat out of it. So that's how it kind of started. But then I made that slow transition into releasing my own music, and it was kind of like I was skeptical that my personal music would work on the platform because I had so much success with mashups. I was kind of scared to walk away from that. But yeah, as I started posting things, it started to resonate with people. And yeah, now we're at the point where most of the content that I'm posting is just like personal music for my own albums and whatever, all that sort of stuff.
Really cool. We're definitely gonna touch on TikTok a bit later. It's gonna be a theme, but I want to jump into a little more of the kind of just the music side, the production, songwriting. I think you're obviously a very talented songwriter, but also a skilled producer. How do you kind of find the balance when creating a song? Do you usually start with production, or is it more of a songwriting first? What's your approach?
Yeah. My approach has definitely adjusted over the years. As I've been like, I'm super intense about finding like the most efficient way to create amazing songs. I just want to kind of be a machine. That's when I feel like I thrive the most. And so, yeah, I started off just like doing what I was good at, which was like making beats and stuff like that. I wasn't super great at songwriting at first. And then I realized, like, yo, if I'm already good at these things, I should just put all my attention on the things I'm not good at. And so for a while, it was like I wasn't great at writing melodies. And then I got better at writing melodies. And then I felt like I wasn't great at writing lyrics. And so I would just start the song with the lyrics. And so now I'm at a point where I've been trying to fine tune all my different skills. And so I'll start typically songs a lot of different ways, but in general, I think my weakest point is lyrics. So I just really double down, triple down on lyrics and make sure those are great. And I start from there, start with a great title, start with a great lyric, and then I build the song around that. So that's kind of how my process has been recently.
Nice. You said something there that's really interesting. You take a weakness and then you hammer it down. You really focus on that weakness, so it's not a weakness anymore. But what you said is really simple. Like, oh, I was bad at melodies, so I was focusing a lot on the melody side, and they got better. Do you feel like it was really just about practice and the reps kind of helped you improve, or were you collaborating with others that helped you build the melodies? Like, what did that look like?
Yeah, I think a lot of it comes with just time, just working on it and comparing your music and like testing it out on different like platforms is really good too because you can see what people like, what people don't like. And there's always if a song isn't doing well, there's always a reason why it's not connecting with people. And that really has been my focus is like, okay, if this isn't working, why isn't it working? What can I be doing better? And so that constant like analysis process is what I'm always running through in my brain, like throughout the day, and just trying to, use my brain to understand what went wrong. And so through that, like it kind of is just like when I recognize, oh, that doesn't work when I do this, then I just cut that out of my process or this or that. Like slowly, you just kind of get better and become a more I guess pointed songwriter where you can make a song and it just like it works because you've been practicing in all those ways.
Right. When you say testing out a song on a platform, is that something that you do regularly? You work on a beat, a melody, and then bring it to TikTok and see how people react?
Yeah, it's typically like I'll make a lot of songs. Like that is something I love. I just like creating new music. There's certain songs that I'm like 100% confident, like, yo, this should work. And so sometimes I'll just go straight out and release it. But for the most part, like a lot of songs, I like them, but I'm not sure if they'll actually resonate. So I'll just make like a casual video of me just playing it in the studio and see what people think of it. Like in the comments, just scrolling through, and people, the negative and the positive comments are all helpful. And sometimes, and that's really what happened with my biggest song. This is what falling in love feels like. Is like I posted it up just casually, and it just got a lot of great feedback, and it told me like, okay, you should probably actually try to promote this, put it out, and see what happens. And that's kind of exactly how we did it.
Yeah, really cool. And is that something that you would recommend for up and coming artists to really show fans more of a behind the scene process and kind of give them these sneak peeks and get feedback instead of just keeping it in this black box and then putting it out?
Yeah, it's kind of foolish not to. It's such a great opportunity to test out your music. Like if you have a great song, you should just throw it right onto TikTok, just see how it reacts. And it's better than finishing the song and spending an extra like 5-10 hours on it and then putting it out. Just to realize that there was like one main piece that people didn't like. And if you adjusted it, it might have worked. And so yeah, I think people are wasting a lot of time and nowadays, like you got to be able to preserve your time and your energy, and that's a great way. Just test it out real quick on TikTok, see what people think.
Totally. I'm curious. You also say, there might be a part that people don't like, but what about the opposite where there's, you make a whole 3 minute song, but then TikTok latches on to these 10 seconds. Is that something that you look for these moments? Are you able to identify them when you're creating a song, or is it something that happens more organically?
Yeah, it's funny as I've been working trying to, really purge the space of TikTok and just be a presence there, like I will kind of handcraft areas of the song and be like, okay, this I have to imagine well, with every TikTok sound, typically they're about 15 seconds long max. And so as I'm creating a song, if I can say like, okay, I really like this part, but I also like this part, how can I make it so that they're not 1 minute apart? And so yeah, like creating those moments is something that like if you're in the TikTok space long enough, you'll realize like, oh, like if I just cut this area down here, make it shorter, like this moment will just be like 15 seconds of like amazing virality. And so yeah, I'll just like work on a song, recognize the great part of it, and then kind of cater that 15 seconds towards TikTok. And you can see that as a common thread throughout my recent songs that I've released.
That's awesome. I think that makes a lot of sense and something that artists might shy away from to not kind of change their music to fit for social. But a lot of times people don't realize that that actually might make for a better, more catchy song too. And there are songs that do well on TikTok where then they're 2 minutes, they get to the chorus first. It's just packs a punch for sure.
100%.
So now, how does TikTok play into your release strategy nowadays? Like obviously you touched on kind of previewing your music. Is there a playbook that you feel like you have that you go to, or it's different every time because TikTok is evolving?
Yeah, I would say as of recent, I definitely adjust this structure a bit as I see things working and not working. But as of right now, it's really like I'll make a song. If I think it's really good, I will go and kind of finish up the lyrics, or at least like the clip that I think is really good. I'll finish that piece. It might even be 30 to 45 seconds. And then I'll go on TikTok and like just leak it. Like literally the other day, I made this like 15-second clip, maybe 20 seconds. Recorded myself doing it, and now like it's starting to really move. And so, but I don't have the song finished at all. Like I literally just have that clip. And so, but that's the thing is if you have one viral section, the rest of the song kind of writes itself. And that's the nice thing is like you don't have to necessarily finish the whole thing because you already have the idea. The song literally just kind of writes itself. So that's been my process. I'll throw it up on TikTok if I'm questioning it, and then if it goes, then I'll finish it and release it.
Nice. I think we've seen some artists do a lot of variation of that. One example is obviously Charlie Puth, who teased his song for what feels like a year on TikTok before dropping it. But I want to segue that into you working with Charlie. Can you take me through a bit about kind of how that came to be and what that means for you?
Yeah, man, it was an insane thing that even happened. Like it sounds kind of crazy that that you're saying that I worked with Charlie. Like that's kind of crazy because I'm such a huge fan of him, and yeah, I listened to a lot of his music throughout the past few years. And so yeah, pretty much how that happened was, as I said before, I decided to throw my vocals on one of these viral mashups that I did with my mom, just right at the end. Like literally, we had 15 seconds, and that was it. Like it was the mashup, a little bit of drums, and then I just rapped and then sang at the end, and it was 15 seconds long, and it just went completely viral. Kind of took us by surprise. It was the first moment where it was like, oh, my vocals are on a song. I'm about to release this as an artist. And so, yeah, my first song just went completely viral. And from there, my management was kind of connected with Charlie Puth from kind of day one. And so, my manager had sent him the song like, yo, have you heard this song yet? He's like, yeah, it's all over my For You page. I would totally be down to do a remix. And so it was just kind of this crazy moment where we orchestrated this thing on TikTok just for like the content, and went to his house, was able to work on the song with him, and then we filmed some content for it. So yeah, overall it was like a crazy experience. But I'm yeah, just blown away at the fact that that even happened.
That's amazing. And for everyone here watching that might not be familiar with the song, when he's saying viral, you really mean viral. This was like top song on TikTok for a long time. How many streams on Spotify is it at now?
Yeah, on Spotify, it's probably I think like 80 something million.
It's amazing. No, really
Crazy.
exciting. So was that obviously it's amazing collaborating with Charlie. Was that a dream collaboration for you? Are there other people that are not no knock on Charlie, of course, but are there other people that are high on your list of dream collaborations?
Yeah, no, it was funny because I had an interview really early on. They asked me like, "Yo, who would be like your dream collaboration?" I was like, if I had to say anyone, I'd probably just say Charlie Puth. And that was before the collab even happened. And so now that that already happened, I'm just kind of like at a loss for words. And it's like literally my first song. Like I got a collab with my dream
Yeah,
collab. But if we're gonna get stingy here, I would have to say Kanye at some point. Definitely want to work with him, and maybe Frank Ocean, something like that. Like huge fan of both of them, so we'll see if that happens. But yeah, I'm content with Charlie Puth for sure.
hey, I mean, you said Charlie in an interview in the past. You said Kanye now. I think it'll happen.
Let's hope so.
Could make it work. And so, in general, is this something like obviously this piece with Charlie? Um, is it something that you do a lot where you collaborate with others and get in the studio with other people, or you're mainly kind of by yourself in your process?
Yeah, it's funny. For my music personally, I work on it typically alone, and then I'll send it to my brother, who's my main collaborator, and
Awesome.
he lives like 10 minutes from me, and so he'll like flesh out the lyrics or fix the structure, all that sort of stuff. But in general, like the creative process for me is like I'm pretty much alone. I'll go to the park, try to come up with ideas, come back, produce it out, record it. Um, and so, yeah, like with my own project, I'm typically writing most of the stuff myself and fully producing it myself.
Awesome. You mentioned there your own project, and you said in the past you're writing for others too, for different TikTok artists and at publishing deal, everything. How do you decide what projects are yours and what goes to someone else?
Yeah, it's funny because like that is my main thing is just writing songs. I love it so much, and so I have tons of music. But it at first I wasn't really sure what direction I was gonna go in for my project, like what type of music I wanted to drop. But now that I've been releasing things, seeing what resonates with other people and what resonates with me, now it's much easier to be like, okay, that one's for me. Like I definitely want this. But this one is a great song, but it doesn't necessarily fit my vision. So I'm super down to like pass out amazing songs, even if like, they could be like hits. I'll just be like, yeah, it's just not for me. So I'll
Totally.
still like send out songs here and there.
No, it makes sense. I want to talk a bit about what's to come for you looking forward. Obviously, the kind of rise to fame was during Corona. Things were locked down. Now you started venturing a bit into the world of live, and I'm curious how have your first few shows gone, and what are your expectations there for the year?
Yeah, it was crazy. I obviously was locked down for a long time. I didn't know what the scope of my influence really was at the time. And so I decided to do a show in Boston and a show in New York. And then I went to a festival and performed in Mexico. And so those are my first three. And it was crazy. I remember at the first show, it was sold out. And like as I walked out, like I just saw everyone and just heard like the crowd, and then like I sang the first lyric and it was just the whole like room just erupted with people yelling the lyrics. I was like, what is happening right now? And so, man, the live scene really opened up my eyes to see that like the stuff that I was making in quarantine was actually connecting with real people. And like, yeah, it's become one of my favorite things, just going out singing my songs and seeing who it's connected with, meeting the people who've been supporting me and stuff like that. It's been a really dope experience.
Amazing. Yeah. What does that feel like being in a room where hundreds of people are singing your song?
Man, it's definitely surreal. Like just to know that people like my music and are memorizing the lyrics just because they like it so much. Like I just remember as I was, coming up and writing songs day after day after day, that was definitely like a dream of mine to see how my music is affecting people. But I had never had that real experience until I had performed. So yeah, it was definitely an adrenaline rush.
Yeah. So it makes a lot of sense. We have a lot of people, a lot of musicians and artists in our community, Fiverr Music, that are, really trying to touch all the bases and trying to figure out how do they make it as an artist or as a producer or a writer. And as I said in the beginning, you're someone that really juggles so many different roles. Um, how are you able to kind of play the social media marketer while also doing the producer? How do you find that balance, and how do you recommend people split up their time?
Yeah, it's something that I've wrestled with a lot. I've gone through seasons of just like working mostly on content and less on music, and then mostly on music, less on content. So I think it depends on the time and what's working. But if someone's still yet to have their big break, I would definitely tell them like every single thing that you make that you believe in, you need to take the time to promote it and see if it has a chance, because if not, like that song that you made, like it doesn't do anything for the world. Like it's not gonna ever get its chance unless you test it out. Right now, like TikTok is just or even IG Reels or YouTube Shorts, it's a free way to just test out your music. And so I would definitely tell people, like, if you have any songs that you're really loving, you need to test it out on one of these platforms, because you never know, because it could like change your entire career.
Yeah, I mean, it did for you, I guess.
For sure.
And besides that, just looking forward, you wear all these hats, you produce your stuff, but then you also mix it, and really are involved with so much. Do you think that's going to be a consistent thing for you in your career, where you have to touch on every facet, in the Kanye mold almost, or is it something that you see yourself collaborating with others, kind of outsourcing different parts of the chain?
Yeah, I'm definitely open to working with other people. I've just found that like if I have a vision, it's hard for me to trust other people to just kind of flesh it out. And my visions are so like just clear of like, yo, I want it to sound exactly like this. And so since I've been producing for a long time and writing, I just can't help but just try to do it myself. And so yeah, but like I've definitely made a lot of dope stuff while I'm collabing with other people. So I'm open to it, but I've found that a lot of times it's just like if you have an idea, you should push it out and flesh it out. Learn what you need to learn in order to do that. Like I remember early on, I would have ideas, but I didn't know how to really produce. I didn't know what sounds I was hearing in my head. And so yeah, I would encourage people to like perfect your craft, get great at it so that you can wear any hat at any time and do what you need to do to make it work.
Totally. So looking forward, sorry, what do you expect in 2022? What's kind of on your horizon? Are you focusing on some singles, on another EP? What's that look for you?
Yeah, so not sure. Yeah, like the future right now is just kind of all over the place, but I will say like I have tons of content on the way. I got a song releasing April 1st, which I'm really excited about. I think that people will really resonate with it. And so yeah, we've just been making like multiple pieces of content for that because we believe in it so much and we're just going to promote the heck out of it right when it drops. So we
Amazing.
have all that stuff loaded up. So stay tuned for that. Like I've been working on so much content recently, and even like I've been posting a lot recently just to kind of prep my page for when I start promoting the song. Because if you take some time off of like TikTok, sometimes the views are slow to ramp back up, and so
Mm.
I'm prepping for that release. And yeah, there's tons of new music stuff that I'm super excited about that will definitely be dropping near in the future. But there's some stuff in the works, so I'll keep my lips shut for that though.
Awesome. No, I'm sure everyone's excited about that. We're almost out of time, so I just want to first of all say thank you again, and second of all say you've already dropped so much knowledge and things that'll help our whole community out. But are there any other words that you would say or tips to aspiring musicians, producers, engineers? Anything that comes to mind?
Yeah, I would definitely say like there's nothing like no talent can outdo hard work. Like if you that's kind of a given in the industry, you do have to have some sort of talent, but it's the people who are working hard and trying to get better that are going to make it work. And so yeah, don't expect things to naturally come. Like go if you want to be an amazing producer, go out and get it. If you want to be viral on TikTok, like you gotta go out and get it. And I think a lot of times people will just kind of sit back. But yeah, there's no in this day and age, like no one's really handing anything to you. The labels love people who make their own success, and that's kind of really where you have to be at this day and age. So I would encourage people like go out there and get whatever it is your dreams and aspirations are. Work hard at it.
Love it. I think that's the best way to sum it up. Jake, thank you so much for joining us at Now Playing. Where, if people haven't found you already, where can the people find you?
Yeah, I am on all social medias. You can just search up JVKE and I should come up. And yeah, on Spotify, Apple Music, all that stuff. But yeah, thank you so much for having me. This was really dope.
Yeah, of course. All right.
All right, man. Peace.
Make a song from scratch using Fiverr. All right, let's do it.
Don't call me when it's over.
I feel like it could use some gospel piano.
Call me when it's over. Over.
And Fiverr hooked me up with an EDM producer who turned that into this. Hey! And last, let's add some drums and get some cover art from Fiverr. That looks fire. Now that you know a little bit about me, let's get into it. So we're going to be taking an inside look at how I made my song, This Is What Falling in Love Feels Like.
Feel like sun on my skin. So this is love. I know it is. I know it sounds super cliche, but you make me feel some type of way. This is falling, falling in love.
As you can see here, I got the original file on the screen. And a quick history on this song. Basically, I had posted it on TikTok, just kind of tested it out to see if people were vibing with it. I personally was like in love with the song. I remember just being super skeptical as to if people would like it or not, because it's super unconventional. And I'm going to be showing you guys exactly why it was so unconventional. Everything from like tempo changes to complete instrumental changes. Like this thing is just different. And so I posted it on TikTok, and I didn't think it was going to work at all. The other day, it actually just became my most streamed song, which is absolutely insane. And I'm so happy because I resonate so much with this song versus some of the other songs that blew up of mine. And so this overall has been a really cool experience to see this song that I love so dearly become such a huge hit. So getting into the production and how I actually made this song, I started off the idea with this violin, and a lot of people ask me like, yo, did you like hire a violinist to play it? Actually, this one, I had just bought this new plugin from Spitfire. It's called Spitfire Solo String, I believe, or Solo Violin. And check this out. It's a very, very nice, real sounding violin. And I had this melody that I had tried before, but it didn't really work out. And then I tried again with this violin, and I was like, this is gold. So a lot of people have probably heard this before. So that was the violin that I made from MIDI, literal MIDI. And I had the idea to bring this violin part, try to fill it in with a bunch of stuff. I'll show you guys what else I added here. So it has this part here, and then it starts to slowly add in some other instruments with a piano. And then there was this, a couple little pads here just to kind of fill in the space sonically. And then just cut it out right there. One little thing that I definitely suggest y'all do when you're making music is to put it in a space that people are familiar with. A lot of people, when they hear birds, they think of a certain place in their mind. For me, it just reminds me of like a summer day. And so I added that just on top of everything, just very subtly. It just adds to this bright feeling of the track. And then if y'all know the song, it instantly goes into Feel Like Sun. So I'll play that part. And the whole vibe is just like this bright, warm, love type of vibe.
Feel like sun on my skin.
So getting to this part now, this section, it sped up a little bit from the last section. It's now at 103 BPM, as you can see here. And so right here, I'll break down how I made that big drop. A lot of people were asking me like, yo, what synth pack did you use? And literally, it was just a bunch of synths stacked on top of each other. Like there isn't just one synth that I use to create this huge, massive soundscape for the synths. So just to play that again, you can hear the fullness of these synths.
Feel like sun on my skin.
So let's break down each section here. So right here, let's see which one this is. Oh, that's just all of them on top of each other. Whoops. Let's check this one. That's one section with just that deep, like with a little bit of the brightness. Now this section is kind of this very rapid moving, like it just feels alive. The drop doesn't feel like just a straight sine wave. It feels like there's movement, like you can subtly hear that on top. Let's find the other sections here. Looks like I bounced out most of them. So I'll unmute these and we'll go one by one. So we have here a deep, low sub kind of synth just to fill in the bottom. Then here we have, I think, some brighter, like they kind of cut through the mix. So far we have lows and then we have mids and a little bit of highs. And now let's hear what this one is. And that's just this wider with some reverb down in the lows. And then we have, like we played before, the fluttery synth. And with all those together, it sounded like this. But as you can see, there's reverb tail on the end of all of these. So I bounced them out, and that's why you can see here we have all of these are cut off right after this section. There's little spaces so that there's no reverb. It's just so obnoxiously like in your face, like, and then it pauses. Just gives this dramatic feel to the track. And I think that's why people like it so much. It's so unexpected. So let's play that back a little bit.
Feel like sun on my skin. So this is love. I know it is.
Honestly, the way this came to be, it just kind of proves that there are no rules in music. Like, if you want something, if you imagine something in your head, which really just in my head, all I could hear was like the violin. And then I just heard this. I didn't know how to explain it or like describe it. I just knew that I wanted to be fully filling in the range of the sonic palette of the EQ, you know, having highs, lows, mids, and just feel like you're getting punched in the face with music. And so, yeah, on top of that, I added a kick and a bass. Let's find that bass. Here we are. A kick and a bass just to fill in that real low. And that really filled in the lower bottom end of the mix. So continuing on here, let's hear the next section of the song.
I know it is. I know it sounds super cliche, but you make me feel some type of way. This is falling in love.
Okay, so this section here, as you can see, I just took the synths that I just made and looped them each 4 times. And just to give them a little side chaining effect, you can see that I have some fades on each of these, just to feel like you're really in the moment. There's a lot of room for the kick to shine and really knock through the mix with that side chaining effect. And then continuing on, I added some vocal layers, some harmonies that you'll be able to hear. And this is probably one of my favorite additions to the track. They're very subtle, but they add so much space and so much lush melody to the track. Let's hear it. So that's with the mix. Now here is without the mix, just the choir.
This is falling in.
Falling in. All those abrupt pauses, they just make for very dramatic music. And this song is very dramatic. And I think I really nailed that vibe. Just by all these different pauses, they hit you unexpectedly. It feels like you're kind of just in a moment in a movie, so to speak, of just falling in love. That's really what I was trying to crystallize with this song. Just get it to feel like what falling in love feels like. It's just this like really intense, but abrupt, like kind of you're just following along a trail and just all these different emotions are just hitting you. And so that's really what leads us into this next section. I wasn't sure what to add next. I just kind of naturally felt like, what if we added like a piano? So this is what kind of my brain just pushed out. I was just like, all right, let's do it. I just heard that piano in my head. I was like, it doesn't really make sense because it's not the same tempo. As you can see, 103 BPM, but now it's 129 BPM. Like, that's not typical for a pop song. Hence just why I was so concerned why people like, I don't feel like people would like that, but for some reason it worked. And sometimes following your creativity is the best thing you can do. And yeah, this piano, I'll play it again. Just got that real light vibe. Feels exactly what just, innocent love feels like, it just feels kind of childish in a way. But yeah, for whatever reason, it worked in the track. Later on, I just kind of, spat some melodies out, added some lyrics later, and this is what it sounded like.
Got me looking forward to the end of the day. What you say? You and me. Just forget about the past.
And then I was like, let's add in the violin.
What you say? You and me live the life we never had, like we're never going back.
And then everybody knows what's coming next. Whenever you have that pause of the violin, it's like, oh shoot, he's going back to the drop. Just making it even more dramatic. It's kind of funny. This song somehow makes sense that it worked on TikTok and all these clickbaity formats, but it seemed to resonate with people on a more musical level. You can make clickbaity music without it feeling clickbaity, I feel like in this clickbait culture, people are looking for real music, but if you can kind of meld the two and make something that grabs people's attention, that's when you're going to really win in the modern music industry. And that's what I've seen, at least for me. So I encourage y'all to try out different techniques to grab people's attention. If it's not engaging, if the song is just kind of chill and boring, you'll probably find your music will just kind of get pushed to the background. So moving on to this transition right here, as you can see at the top, this is the tempo slowing down just at the end. I remember messing with this just to get the right feeling. It wasn't mathematical, like, oh, we got to go from 129 to 108 at this exact timing. It's like just whatever feels right. And that's not very typical for a pop song to switch tempos, but it just felt right. And so I ran with it, and this is what it sounded like.
Hey, you and me live the life we never had, like we're never
Slowing down to
feel like sun.
And now I was feeling like the song was just a little bit slow from before. Like I played it and I put it back to 103 BPM, which is where the song started. And it just felt boring. And so I was like, you know what? We've already come this far in creativity and unconventionalism, if that's even a word. And let's just send it and put it to 5 BPM faster. So it was at 103 at this drop.
Feel like sun on my skin.
And you'll be able to feel it. It's a little bit faster, 5 BPM.
Feel like sun on my skin.
So you can definitely feel the tempo change.
I know it is. I know it sounds
especially
super cliche, but you make me feel some type of way.
So the same sort of thing, just it feels like it's picking up with the emotion, the speed. It just feels more intense. And then again, one more intense stop of the music, and then it's just like Hail Mary, just go as crazy as you can, add in as many instruments as you can. That was my idea here. Just pause it for one last finale. And as you can see, the song is only at 1 minute and 29 seconds at this final drop, which, I believe the song in total is 2 minutes long. So it really just pack a punch for just the moments. There's so many moments in here that are they just cut right out and then go into this huge drop. Like that happens multiple times here, but the fact that it's all in 2 minutes is kind of insane to me. I can't believe how quickly this song, I finished the song. I was just like, yeah, 2 minutes is good. Like, let's just run with it. So yeah, we had this one more pause and then into the big drop where you put in as many different instruments as you can. You want to just fill in that full range of sonics. Think of like the EQ range from lows, mids to highs. You want to have everything there, everything filling its spot. So yeah, the one last pause. Let's hear it. This is falling in love. Again, those vocals in the background, let's just solo those out just so you guys know how many different vocals I had on this thing. Let's make sure these are all correct. Okay, yeah. So here's all the vocals in one shot without the main vocal. Cut out the reverb. And then it's just right back to the dry piano that is already familiar to everybody. That's one rule of thumb I always go by is like, if you have different sections to a song, you can only have like maximum 3 to 4. If you're getting 5 or 6 different sections, you're most likely losing out on just the catchiness of the song. And so I encourage a lot of people, like, just keep it simple, take your best sections and just repeat them. People want to hear it because they like it, and adding too much stuff makes people appreciate each moment less. That's kind of the cost of trying to be iconic. If you want to make iconic music, you have to stick to less amounts of ideas. You got to stick and own that idea that you have. And to me, the main ideas here were the violin to the big drop and then the piano section. Those are like the 3 defining moments, and that's enough for this song. So I just go right back to the piano, and by that point we're already at the 2-minute mark. Just to die out with those birds in the background. And that whistle, just to remind people of the melody that they are hopefully not forgetting for a long time. It's very sticky, and I just felt like, yeah, if we whistle, it's like as you're leaving, say you're walking out of a store, like you hear that whistle, you're just going to be whistling it on your way home. And so I wanted to stick that melody in people's heads so that it would be stuck in their head for the rest of their day. So that was the idea behind the whistle. But yeah, that gets us to the end of the track where it just fades out. And so yeah, that's pretty much the entire track in a nutshell. I tried not to hide anything here. These are all my secrets. So yeah, thank you so much, Fiverr, for having me. This was a really dope experience. I always love to look at the creative process. So yeah, thank you so much for inviting me to share at Now Playing. And yeah, I hope this was helpful in some way to you guys. Hopefully it was inspiring and will get you out there creating more. And remember that there's no rules to making music. And really in this day and age, people are looking for something new. And something that hasn't been done before. So yeah, stay creative and make sure to keep working hard. Peace out, y'all.